Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. True Gamer, as always for you. And Firewall Ultra is finally here. This is pretty much the main reason why I bought a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation VR 2. So, let me just preface this by saying, if you haven't played the first one, you may or may not be a fan of this particular version of the game, and that's basically what it is to me. Now, with that being said, there's been a few other YouTubers out there that clearly have played the game. They know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and they all have their own personal opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. This is my personal opinion on it, and I think I am 100% gung-ho for this game. And there's a few reasons why. So let's go ahead and hop into it, and we'll start out with the basics, all the new technologies of this game, and then at the end of the video, you can kind of figure out if you want to play the game or not. Either way, I'm going to be playing it, most definitely. But go ahead, check out what I have to say, and determine for yourself. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first and foremost, what I want to start with, as always, is the settings in the game. You pretty much just hit the start button and it pulls up the settings menu for you, or should I say the main menu. Now, everything in Firewall Ultra is basically done with eye tracking. It's a new technology that the headset is most definitely trying to perfect, and it kind of shows in this game what it could be like for the future, but it is definitely not perfected. I can tell you that right now. So everything that's moving on the screen right now is all done just with my eye moving. I can look up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, and you can see it kind of lags a little bit, which comes into a problem later when we're talking about guns. But let's go ahead and check out the settings here. Basically, you're thrown into the game with snap turning and all these vignettes and everything on it. So you can pretty much turn off your vignettes. You have smooth turning or snap turning, and then the actual movement speed for smooth turning. That's pretty much all that's going on with the comfort there. You have the headset vibration as well, which is important to take note of because of the psvr 2. Moving on to the controls, you can select your dominant hand. You have an aim down sight mode, which is for toggling or for holding. There is a cool feature which I'll get into, which is zoom in when closing your eyes, on or off. I like to have it on. It's pretty much on all the time for whatever reason in this menu. No matter if you turn it on or off, it is glitched at the moment, and it will most definitely always be off, but it seems to work just fine, so that's kind of weird from the get-go. Movement, you can choose between whether you want controller, body, or look. I always like using my headset to look, so pretty standard stuff there. In audio, you got your master, your chat, your music, your sound effects, and dialogue, and then you can choose your audio mix between your headset, your TV, or basically your earbuds. Moving on to audio comfort, we have subtitles. Some people like it on, some people like it off. I like to have it on just in case. Tinnitus. This is really, really cool because when it comes to like the flashbangs and rifle fire, it kind of puts a ringing in your ears, which is kind of cool and something that's a little different that we don't see in a lot of games. So really cool settings there. Enough settings and comfortability options for you. As you know, the PlayStation VR 2 always lets you play standard or sitting, which I think should be a standard for any VR game now. I love that PlayStation integrates that for every single game. So that's pretty much it for the settings. So what we have here is the Guantlet, and this is pretty much your tutorial level, lets you practice your skills and all that good stuff that goes with it. So as you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful in here. That is pretty much the main bread and butter of Firewall Ultra. Everything looks neat and pretty and tidy and just graphically pleasing in the PlayStation VR 2. it's everything you want out of a futuristic headset and a game that goes with it as far as graphics go. You really can't complain about it. It's really neat. It's just fantastic all around. There's lots of shadows. You can see the sun coming in through the skylights over here. Everything is just the way it should look visually. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, that's really all there is for graphics. It's definitely something to be thankful for and enjoy the eye candy. And that's definitely something that's a major upgrade from Firewall 0 Hour, the original game. So moving on, like I was saying before, everything is pretty much visual based for Firewall Ultra here. That includes throwing your grenades. So one thing that I do not like is basically everything is done with either your left hand or your right hand, depending on which one is your dominant hand. So no matter what you do, you basically have to look at the item, reach for it, and then you basically have this prompt for L1 or R1, and then you hold it down,
throw a sticky grenade,
and you pick up the item.
Hold the R2 button to prepare it. Look where you want it to go, and release the R2 button.
Now, it's really, really awkward because when you go to open doors here, you know, playing most VR games, you want to just grip the door handle and open it. You can't do that with this, and it kind of is immersion breaking at first, but then you realize how smooth and fluid it really is once you get used to it. So basically, you just walk up to a door, hit L1, and it opens. And you can actually do it really, really fast if you want to. It ends up being pretty fluid at pretty much any time when you're playing. I forgot to mention that I'm almost 8 hours into this, and I'm starting to see some of the problems and concerns that people are, you know, addressing that they're not liking. But I really think that this game is a lot better than people are giving it for. This game definitely has some things that people just aren't going to like and aren't used to. And it definitely takes a little while to get used to those features because a lot of it is new technology and it's different. But I think they're implemented very, very well into this game. And throwing objects or grenades, flashbangs, smoke, things like that are definitely one of those things. So you basically open up your weapon wheel by holding circle, and you select your items or weapons, should I say, from this weapon wheel. But you're not using the joystick in order to do that. You are using full-blown eye tracking to do that. So right now, I'm once again using my eyes, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Just so you can see how fast it's moving. And it works fairly well and is pretty fluid for the most part. But there is times it can be off, which kind of hurts a little bit in combat. Especially when you're in a real quick jam and you want to switch to grenades. It's just not super fluid and fast enough for me. I much rather have it being able to select it with my controller or joystick in some way, shape, or form. So I wish they would add that as an option, but it's really not terrible. It's just doesn't work as fast as I would like it to work. But anyway, so you select the grenade and you hold down right trigger or left trigger, depending on your dominant hand, and it gives you this arc. So if you pull it back, it increases the arc, but if you lower it, it lowers the arc. And with this yellow circle, you are using just nothing but eye tracking. So I'm going to look now at this dog that's in the corner and launch it. As you can see, it's fairly accurate. It's not bad at all. It's not terrible, but it does take a second or two to get used to. Right now, my eyes are looking at the exit sign, down to the blue tarp, which is a little off. Exit sign, tarp, and you can see it kind of jumps past it sometimes. So it doesn't work perfect all the time, but it's also not terrible. As you can see, the arc didn't work exactly well there. So it can have its caveats, and it is different. It is a little different to get used to. especially when you're playing VR games that don't have eye tracking, basically. So, moving on to the firearms. Now, this is one of my favorite features that a lot of people may or may not like. If you're a fan of the first one, I think you'll like it. If you're not, you may take a while to get used to, because it's 100% different, but also really, really cool in my honest opinion. It makes the guns feel more realistic and a little more, you know, lifelike when you're aiming. It's pretty cool. So, bring up your weapon once again with your weapon wheel. On your left controller, you basically have your triangle and square button. Triangle doesn't do anything, but square turns on your Taclight or your laser or whatever the case may be. And it's cool. The lights look great, especially in the dark, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But yeah, that's really how that goes. So you can grip with your left grip button or your right grip button, and you can hold left trigger or right trigger. Once again, this is all dependent on your dominant hand. Mine is going to be left trigger because I'm right hand dominant. And it goes into this aim down sights mode. Now this aim down sights mode here kind of slows the pace, and you're able to fire on stuff. But what I really, really, really like is while you're still aimed down sights like this, if you close one of your eyes, it goes into this more of a zoomed, more accurate stance. That's my eye open. That's my eye closed. Eye open. Eye closed. And you can see there's a bit of delay on it. Once again, that is all due to the eye tracking, which is not perfected, but also a very, very cool feature. So, this is pretty much just holding the grip, not actually using the aim down sights mode. We'll go ahead and use this dummy right here. It's kind of off a little bit. But if you hold trigger, you go into this aim down sights. It's a little more accurate. Now let's look with my eye closed here. Much more accurate. Now, one thing I would like to see is most definitely basically a sliding scale in order for that aim down sight speed to be faster. Because when you're in a battle and you're kind of sitting in a room and you're kind of like in the corner and someone comes in from the opposite side and you want to be able to look fast and still be able to aim down like that, it's extremely slow. That's my only major gripe with it. Other than that, it feels really good and is very, very nice. A lot of people don't like it. I love it. I think it's great. It makes it feel more tactical, makes it feel more realistic. And, you know, a lot of people don't like straight realistic games. And that's fine, but that's kind of what this game is all about. So, moving on next, which is another really cool feature, is the flashbangs. The flashbangs really give you this huge, like, a concussion, you know, like they would in real life, basically. But it blurs your whole entire headset and really, really screws you up. So, basically, you can look directly at it, and it gives you this whole whiteout here, and you're just disoriented and all this other stuff. It's terrible. You can't see, and the closer you are to it, the worse it is. But if you close your eyes while still looking at it, like right now, you avoid that disorientation, which is really, really cool. I love that. It's awesome. Another really cool feature is when you have smoke grenades. The more smoke grenades you throw out, like, the darker it gets, basically. And you can completely black out a room completely with a bunch of smoke. And it's very, very disorienting. And there's actually a perk that's a night vision perk that will help with that later on. But you got to be real high level. So, anyways, so that's pretty much it as far as some of the basic mechanics here. So we'll go ahead and check out the camera system, which is kind of cool. Camera system is just like the first one. You're able to hack into the computers. You're able to look at, certain areas. Basically, each area has a name at the top of it. You're able to look at it and call it out. And it's great for learning the map. Very fluid. You can move back and forth, left to right. And you can move your head around to see more of the map, which is super sick. So nothing too special there. That was all in the first one, which is great. Next up, we also have some melee combat, which is cool. So you do have a knife, and what I like about the knife is when you actually hit things, it gives you like these little gashes in the wood or whatever the case may be. But it's cool, it's realistic, it's nice. You cannot throw the knife, but you can change the stance of it, which is cool. You can physically stab with it, which is great. Also, if you hit the trigger button of your dominant hand, it automatically does this like swinging motion for you, which is cool too. But nothing too crazy with the combat knife, just a little feature to have there. Up next, we got some basically your not attachments, but gadgets, should I say. We'll just do a popular one here. This is C4. Basically, you once again select it with your weapon wheel. You hold trigger, and you basically place it wherever you want to place it. And then you have a detonator with this particular one. Make it go boom. Graphics look great. The effects are cool. Fire's awesome. And you've got other things that you can deploy to, which is cool. Just several other things. Some things you got to actually, like, place on walls. There's just all kinds of different gadgets. Several different things. Mines, C4, motion detectors, all that good stuff. So, another thing that they actually upgraded in the actual Firewall Ultra compared to Firewall 0 Hour is going to be the door blockers. In the first one, it was nothing but just a metal bar. Kind of boring. You can see opening doors is real easy. No big deal. But if you deploy a door blocker on it, it makes things way, way harder. And it's got to be on the other side. That's my fault. Let me go through this door here. Basically, it's got to be on the back side. And it's got to be placed perfectly, which is kind of annoying. But it does work fairly well. And now you can see how hard it is to actually get into a door. It takes longer. You hear it breaking down, yada, yada, yada. And, you could use C4 to blow it up and stuff like that if you want to. And then you're able to gain access. So it's a little bit harder. Very cool feature. But they changed the whole complete look of it. And it's just a lot better. So this is where your Taclights come in. And I just want to show you, like, overall theme of Firewall Ultra is everything is dark. All the maps are basically the same maps as the first one, just all done in HD, and they made them really, really dark. And as you can see, the lighting works great, but it is dark. It's very, very dark in here. There's no doubt about it. But it's cool. You can look around, and it works the way it's supposed to, no doubt about it. So while we're at it, I didn't mention back with the guns earlier, but the reload feature. It's nothing but hitting X, it drops the mag, and it reloads. There is supposed to be another mode coming eventually that's a hardcore mode where you're going to be able to manually reload. Now, what I can say is I don't think manual reload on this game is ever going to be a thing. And I'll tell you why. The animations just do not work. If anything, all you're going to be able to do is pull the clip out, put the clip in, and that's it. There's no way that they're going to include the animations to, rack the slide or anything like that. If they do, they're pretty much revamping the whole entire weapon system. So it'll be a manual reload, but only to a certain extent. All right, so up next here we have the Gauntlet, which is really, really cool. Basically, it's a training area, and I'll kind of show you at as best speed as I can here what some combat would look like here. Taking a selfie. Gonna reload real quick. This you want to aim down sights for. So this game is made to be slow and methodical. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people are having right now, is this is 100% a true tactical shooter. And that's exactly what I like about the first one here. Basically, if you're a super fan of Rainbow Six Siege or Rainbow Six in any way, shape, or form, this is the VR game tactical shooter that you want to play. You know, almost all shooters in VR right now are arcadey. The only one that I would say that's not arcade-like is Ghost of Tabor. And it's a completely different play style. It's a little bit different than what this game is made to be. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people are having right now, is they don't understand that this game is a true, let's be tactical, let's be slow, let's play as a team type game. And it's not the bread and butter that everybody is willing to play. It's just the facts of the matter. Another selfie. All right, so that's a pretty wild score there. There's no way that only took 8 seconds, but so that's definitely off. So you can see there's things like that glitch and are really, really weird with the game. Leaderboards is another thing with that, which I'll get into later. Leaderboards are always off, which was a problem with the first one, and we'll address more of those issues later. But that is pretty much it for the basics of the game. Really not much else to say about it, other than these brand new features are something that you just have to learn, but I believe work very, very well with the game. Now here we are at basically our player hub, which they're calling the Safehouse. This is an improvement big time from the very first one, from 0 hour basically. You're able to move around, look at things, check things out. You're able to chat with your friends, wave to them, things like that. Basically, the cool part about it is you're just able to free and you're not stuck just staring at a menu. So over here to the right, you basically have a firing range. So when you're in between time now, you can hop onto the firing range, hang out, test your weapons, things like that, and basically just really hone your skills. Really cool. I love that. It's definitely worth messing around with and testing your guns in your in-between time. You have a weapons bench over here, which is really cool. Basically, you can try out some gear that you got going on for attackers and defenders. Basically, after you modify it in the loadout, which we'll go look at here in a minute, basically, you can choose whatever you wish, take it to the range, and play with it. So nothing too crazy here. It's not like you can put new scopes on here or anything like that, which I really wish you could. Kind of annoying that you can't like physically touch it or anything and like put scopes on, put silencers on, things like that. It really doesn't let you do a whole lot, which is very, very annoying. But also, you know, it lets you change it here, like in the actual like menu. You can look at it and, you know, swap out your stuff, you know, through the menu, but you just physically can't do it, which is kind of a pain. But, you know, once again, everything is done by eye tracking here, and it's just different. You know, like I said, it's all about kind of just customizing your gun here and using it on the range. I just really, really wish that you could basically physically do it instead of looking at it through a menu, and it kind of makes it just kind of feel like Call of Duty style. It's not terrible, it's cool, And but other games have done it way better. Like Tabor, you can physically put on scopes and you know, the whole nine, which is really cool. So it's just lacking here for that. That's pretty much it for the gun range. It looks pretty, just nothing too crazy. So moving on here to your computer to the right. This is basically your main menu for the actual Safehouse. Lets you choose your modes, which you have contracts and you have exfil. Pretty neat stuff, not terrible. I wish there was some other game modes maybe, but staying true to the first one, I'm okay with that. Not terrible at all. It can get boring after a while, but the Exfil Mode is kind of like a terrorist hunt, where you basically are just hacking laptops and killing terrorists. Contracts is the PvP mode, basically. You can select your contractors here, which is pretty cool. Depending if you got the pass for it or not, is how many contractors you're going to have. To the right, you can change your skills and have a secondary skill, which is really cool. Absolutely love that. And then you got your loadouts here for attacking and defending that you can have preset and ready to ride before you get into the game, so you're not messing around with that, because once you get into the game, you cannot change any of your loadouts, which is a little bit of a fault, but also you have all the time in the world here to do it right at this bench. Towards the back of the room here is going to be the Black Road. Black Road is basically where your vendors are going to be, so you can buy your equipment and new guns. They have something called assignments, which was on the first one. Basically, you had a weekly assignment, which gave you crypto, XP, and unlocks. Operations. I don't know anything about operations yet. They really haven't said a darn thing about it, and I'm waiting to see what that's about. Hopefully, it's something cool. Then you have your dealers. This is where you're buying everything from. There's 4 dealers. Basically, you have your assault rifles and accessories for them, your special weapons and accessories, your shotguns, SMGs, and the accessories for those, and then you have your tactical equipment and accessories. Down here below, it looks like there's some kind of like special perk called Sentinel and Night Vision. This is what I was talking about earlier with Night Vision. I don't know for 100% fact that this is something that helps you out with maybe aiming and seeing at night through smoke, things like that. So basically, you got to unlock them, and I talked to a dude already that has them unlocked and said they don't do anything. So maybe it's glitched. We don't know yet, but we still got to figure that out. So that's, yeah, pretty much it. Basically, the thing I don't like, which was also in the first one, which was a pain, you can unlock it with your level, but then you still have to pay crypto in order to use it. So basically, once you hit level 39, you can unlock the suppressor, and then probably pay about 100,000 crypto to buy it. Absolutely crazy. I'm hoping those assignments and operations will allow you to gain a whole bunch of crypto, and that won't be so bad. But as you can see, the safe house, it looks great, pretty cool looking, and just all around fantastic that you can walk around, goof around with your buddies in the gun range, things like that. So I'm pretty pleased about it. Now here is also another one of my gripes, which basically this is where you can see your teammates and who is coming into the game that you're going to be playing against. You have 4 players per team, A team and B team. Cool, you get to see everybody, no big deal. Where my gripe comes down to right now is you have a clock. Basically, it's a 2-minute clock down, or countdown, should I say, not clock down, but you know what I mean. You have a countdown here that starts once you have a full squad. 2 minutes clocks down, and basically you start the game. Sometimes a person will leave, and that counter will stay at 0 for up to 5 minutes, and you're just sitting here waiting for the game to launch. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, you just don't know. And it's crazy to me that there's not a ready up button right here somewhere that you can ready up, have everybody ready to go, and it just automatically launches. Everybody has time to get their loadout done, you can ready up, and it just go. I would love to see that. I'm surprised that that's not here. And also, this was a major problem in the very first one as well. So, they say they have dedicated servers now. Apparently, it's going to be fixed. As of basically the timing of this video, Discord said they're working on issues with matchmaking, and they're hoping to patch that ASAP. I heard that before in the first one, and I'm really not trusting that fact till probably a good month or two down the line. That's a major problem to me. You sold us on the fact about these dedicated servers. That's the whole reason why I'm here right now. The only problem with the first one, in my eyes, that was major, was not having dedicated servers. So I hope that's true. I hope we're not being fibbed to, and that gets fixed real soon. So for the rest of the time here, I'm kind of just going to show you some gameplay footage of me playing the game, and I'll do a little bit of the exfil, and then I'll do a little bit about the PvP. So once again, first we'll start with the exfil mode. This is a new mode, which is absolutely a great idea. It's basically a Rainbow Six Siege terrorist hunt in VR. So if you're a fan of that, you definitely will probably like this. I am for it, and I'm also kind of like, this is a little boring. So there's some cool things going on and some not so cool things. So first up, once again, the maps are beautiful. They're well laid out. Everything's nice and pretty. The AI in this are extremely smart. This time they are able to flank you. They rush you in teams. They lay gadgets down. They lay mines down. They do all kinds of things to stop you, which is really cool. And I must say, it can be pretty tough at times. You are able to play this with up to 4 people, just like you would be in the PvP mode. So you can definitely, if you're not a fan of the PvP mode, you can play this with your friends too. So basically, it's 4 players per map. So you and 3 other friends can hop in and just do your thing. Kind of like how Terrorist Hunt is in Rainbow Six Siege. It's just terrorists, shooting them, killing them, doing what you got to do to basically clear them off the map. Exfil kind of works in a little bit of a different way, though. You basically have to hack 3 different laptops, and then you have to proceed to the exfil location. Now, what I do like about this is you basically... the laptops are never in the same place, or at least so they say. I haven't noticed 100% yet. I feel like I've ran into a few loops, though, that you definitely have the laptops spawning in the same place. They say it doesn't happen, but if you play it long enough, I think you kind of learn the cycle, and that's kind of where I think there's some things from First Contact that aren't being truthful, like I was saying about the dedicated servers before. So I definitely have noticed that the laptops are spawning in the same places. I thought it was supposed to be procedurally generated the whole entire time, but I'm not 100% sure it is. That's just being honest with you. The gameplay is there. Fighting the AI is really cool, and they definitely give you a run for your money. The problem is the animations. Don't get me wrong, the characters look great, they're beautiful, but the animations are like wonky. I've seen them on top of tables. I've had to kill them through walls because they didn't spawn correctly. Basically, they run at you backwards. Like, I've seen all kinds of things like that, which is very immersion breaking. And then the whole hacking the laptops every single time is kind of weird. Like, I would rather the AI be twice as many and just have to kill all the AI instead of hacking those laptops every single time. But it is Firewall. That's the name of the game. Obviously, they got to incorporate that some way, somehow. So, overall, I think the mode is really fun. You can definitely have fun with your friends on it. It's just not exactly an eye catcher or an attention keeper, should I say. It's fun to play. Like I said, don't get me wrong, but it definitely just gets... played out. Basically, you're kind of just like doing the same thing over and over. There's a ton of different maps to do it on. Really, I like this for practice and learning the maps. I think that's the exact like idea of it. I just think that the AI are definitely smarter, but the gameplay loop on it is just kind of boring after a while. But the more enemies or more players you play with, the more enemies and the harder they are, which is kind of cool too. So that's kind of what I think about Exfil. It can be extremely hard, especially if you're by yourself. It definitely took at least 2 people for me to complete a map on Oil Rig, which is kind of interesting because I definitely wouldn't say I'm, an amazing player or anything, but I definitely can shoot a VR gun, that's for sure. So that's my thoughts on Exfil. Cool mode, great way to add more gameplay to it. I just think they need to expand on it more. We know we're getting more maps, but the AI is really where it's at, and it's cool to see smart AI for once. Ghost into Boar has smart AI, but they're not as smart as I would say as these AI are. These guys really come at you with gadgets, and it's pretty unique to see. So now we're on to the final part of my impressions / review here, I guess you can say. PvP. It's very, very much just like the first Firewall game. What can I say? It's hard to kind of start with the PvP. I really, really like everything about it. This game is made to be played slow, methodical, Rainbow Six-ish. It's literally a Rainbow Six Siege playstyle. You have to be checking every corner. You have to know your maps. You have to know where people are coming from. You have to be listening out to the environment. Everything is important in the PvP mode. If you cannot communicate, especially effectively, this game is not for you. And this is where we're going to start losing people with this game. This game is made to be with people who have mics, can communicate efficiently under pressure, because that's really what I love about this game. It puts a pressure on you because you're under a time limit the whole entire time. When you're attacking, you got to be able to say, hey, I got a guy to my left. Hey, I got a guy to my right. You're basically doing everything on the fly. And you can tell who's played major competitive esports games before and who hasn't as soon as you get into a lobby here. It's just this aura of, I know how to shoot, I know how to play, I know how to help my teammates out, and that's exactly what this play style for this game is. If you are not that type of player, you will not have fun on this game. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, it's part of the package when a game like this is made to be a true tactical shooter. So with that being said, yes, you can cop on here and not give a damn about anything and just go run around and shoot and do things like that all you want. But you will not last long. Your teammates aren't going to have fun with you. They're not going to try to come save you. Things like that. You have to be in the mindset of a team here. Completely team-based. The team wins, not individuals. So, that brings me to pretty much how shooting works and the time to kill and all that. The shooting feels great to me in PvP. Everything feels accurate. It feels like there really is no advantage or disadvantage between players. So maybe those dedicated servers are really there taking care of the job. It feels smooth. The time to kill is a bit high, but the thing is if you place 1 or 2, neck shots or headshots, they're going down immediately. the other thing is it's based on weapon damage. The first one, there was a clear OP weapon, and which was the G36, at least when the last time I played it was. But there is weapons damage based on that particular firearm, because there's a clear difference between the shotgun and, say, a rifle and an SMG. So the time to kill is really different. Also, it depends on the perks that people are using. Some people use a perk where, you can basically take damage from grenades, take damage from bullets, etc., etc. There's faster reload, all that kind of stuff. But the thing is once you play the game long enough, what if one person is running that character, so they they at least have that one perk, and then you kind of take a guess at their second perk depending on how fast they're running, or if you see them run through a mine or something like that. So it's all about knowing the game, just like Rainbow Six Siege is, or Rainbow Six period. But the closest I can refer to is Rainbow Six Siege again, because all the operators have their own skills. You use a different one particular for each situation, so that's what it has going for it there. Things could be a little bit iffy sometimes. Sometimes there was a match particular that I was shooting through a handrail, and clear as day, it was just some bars. It should have went right through the handrail there, and it didn't. And it clearly didn't kill the other opponent, but he ended up being able to shoot me because he had a better angle, and I died. So there's little things like that where you're not able to shoot through bushes, walls, things like that kind of take away from it, which I really wish they would add. But for the most part, overall, it's definitely a fun time. I just don't think people are ready to play this type of game in VR. VR is really made for people just to have fun all the time. Don't get me wrong. There's people like me that like playing it hardcore and enjoy those really hardcore games like Ghost of Tabor and now Firewall Ultra. I just don't think it's going to appeal to the masses, because a lot of people, like playing Call of Duty. They hop into Call of Duty expecting just to hop on and run around and shoot things for a little while and, get off of it and not worry about it. It's not what this game is. It's all about the tactics and communication, and it's really going to turn people away from it. It's just the way it is. That's all I can say for it. If you're looking for something to be casual, it's definitely probably not for you unless you're playing the Exfil Mode. Just being honest with everybody, and that's really, really what I think about the bread and butter PvP mode. It's not for the faint of heart, and that's simply what it is. All right, folks. There you have it. That is my impressions of at least 8 hours of gameplay on Firewall Ultra and countless hours on Firewall 0 Hour. There's not much else to say. It's a 100% tactical shooter that I think has built upon Firewall 0 Hour, using everything that the first one had, just making things look a lot prettier, implementing the eye tracking system, which is absolutely amazing for the aim down sights. 90% of people will not like that, but it is something you can get used to and learn to love. It feels way more realistic. It feels like a shooter should. I think there's a few things that need to be polished up and fixed, which I'm hoping they will do. There's a link in the description below for their Discord. If you are planning on playing it and running into some bugs, you can submit those, and hopefully the developers will get on that and fix it. I love the game. I personally love it. I absolutely love going in, wiping out a whole squad, and communicating with your team, playing tactically. It's everything an old school Rainbow Six player just craves nowadays. And that's just my personal opinion. Everyone can take it for what it is. It's completely up to you. I love it. I personally think anybody that's a fan of Rainbow Six or a real, true VR tactical shooter, this is something you want to play and don't want to miss out on. So, as always, if you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, check out all the links in the description below. Hit me up in the comments if you definitely want to play some with me. I'm always looking for groups to play with. Just let me know. Hit me up on my Discord. I can't wait to play with some of y'all. Hop into the game and tear some people up. Thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.